Transparency emphasizes that discussing corruption in the defense sector is no longer an internal matter for states, but rather a fundamental pillar for ensuring the success of the ATT and achieving its universality. Experiences in recent years have shown that corruption permeates all stages of the arms cycle, from procurement contracts to transportation to storage and distribution. This pervasiveness facilitates the diversion of weapons from legitimate users to armed groups and terrorist organizations, as is the case in some African countries where corrupt practices have contributed to the continued flow of weapons to conflict zones in Libya, Sudan, and the Sahel region. In the absence of effective transparency and oversight mechanisms, the treaty's reports become a formal tool unable to monitor or mitigate real risks. From this perspective, linking the fight against corruption to efforts to strengthen the treaty's universality represents a practical and necessary step. More states will not join unless serious efforts are made to ensure the integrity of the defense sector and arms deals. Conversely, incorporating clear standards of integrity and transparency into the assessment of arms transfer will enhance mutual trust and make joining the treaty a better option. The situation in Libya clearly demonstrates how a lack of transparency and rampant corruption have transformed an entire country into a major transit point for illicit weapons. Over the past few years, Libya has made a major source of armed flows to armed groups within the country, as well as to other conflict zones, particularly Sudan, where weapons reach the rapid support forces and terrorist groups operating in the region. The continuation of this situation exacerbates the suffering of civilians and undermines regional and international security. Partners for Transparency believes it is essential to raise awareness among government officials and parliamentarians, engage civil society in oversight in the defense sector, and mobilize public opinion to push for accession. Libya's inclusion in the treaty framework will not only be a national achievement, but also a fundamental step toward curbing illicit arms flows across the entire region. In West Africa and the Sahel, the illicit arms trade has contributed to the escalation of armed violence and the spread of extremist groups, including Boko Haram and ISIS. Small arms and light weapons have proliferated through black and gray markets, including weapons stolen from the national stockpiles in Niger, Mali, Nigeria, and Burkina Faso. These challenges are exacerbated by weak border control, weak weapon registration and accounting systems, and the role of some security officials in facilitating the diversion of sales weapons to local or extremist groups, as observed in northern Nigeria, where poorly paid security forces encourage participation in the illicit arms trades. Scarce resources and capacity have also prevented the destruction or tracing of confiscated weapons, allowing their continued proliferation. Mr. President, linking the fight against corruption to the process of strengthening the treaty's universality and addressing key hotspots such as Libya, Sudan, and the Sahel represents the best way to make the treaty more effective.
Thank you for your statement. I'll give the floor to distinguished representative of Transparency International Defense and Security. You have the floor.